Welcome to Psychic Evolution with evidential psychic medium Jamie Clark and spiritual coach and healer Maggie Clark.
Welcome back to another episode of Psychic Evolution. I'm Jamie Clark.
And I'm Maggie Clark, and this is a podcast where you discover the psychic potential within to empower yourself and manifest your psychic and mediumship gifts.
And these abilities are so natural, they're supernatural.
And today we want to talk about synchronicities, because this is something that has come up a lot around people asking, where'd they go? I used to get so many synchronicities and coinkydinks, and then where did they all go? What do they mean? So this episode is dedicated to the types of synchronicities that unfold in our lives, that appear in our lives, that present themselves to us. What are we supposed to learn with these synchronicities? Where do they take us? And why are they in our lives?
And more productively, rather than trying to make them happen, you allow them to happen. It's a lot more flow and ease. And, sometimes people perceive that if you allow things to happen, you're out of control and you don't have any, to me, no. Give it the bigger picture of what the end result is that you're looking for, and then allow the universe to flow into that life experience of yours to give you the people, circumstances, and experiences, not through the life force, but the life flow. And I always say, it sounds like semantics, but the way we approach the universe, it approaches us. And in getting some practicality, because in the beginning, the average person, as we all have our own life experience, but I equate what we create in life as the iceberg. And most people only see the tip of the iceberg that we're creating, and they'll tend to see that as lucky and coincidence. They don't see below the surface of consciousness and all of the tools and techniques that we built upon to get to that point. And when people can see that you're lucky, I'm like, sure, luck, coincidence. They start to apply to go, well, whatever you're doing, it must be working in some way, or I wouldn't be feeling that way about you. I'm like, right, exactly. And if I can give you some tools and techniques, if Maggie and I can share some tools and techniques to give you the empowerment of your own life experience in creating more of what you do want and a little bit less of what you don't want, will give you the appetite and hunger to create even more positive, productive experiences in your life. And we'll give a few examples of how people on average would see it as lucky and coincidence to go, is it? Or could it be precision on the universe's part?
So the most common synchronicities that people ask me about are numbers. Like, why do I see 1111 and 444 and 222? And, yes, there are websites where you can look up numbers and what they mean, and that's one person's interpretation of that. What I encourage everyone to do is to understand their basic 9 numbers. So anytime you see a number, whether it's in a dream or whether it's in the waking world, and there's a synchronistic feel to it, or a combination of numbers like I'm always seeing this, then I really think that getting an understanding, a basic understanding of your first 9 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, is going to give you information about why you're seeing certain numbers. And then you can also add all the digits that you're seeing together. So if you're seeing 1111, that will add up to a 4. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. If you're seeing 444, that'll add up to a 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. And so every single number that goes into a synchronistic type of number vibration has a relevance and has an energy signature that you can learn about, and that you can understand, what is this message of the universe? Why do I keep seeing the ones? I had a really good friend years ago ask me the question, I'm always seeing 111 or 1111, like this keeps happening all the time. This is like the only thing that I see. And I said, okay, great. Let's look at the vibration of 1. You are so ready for new beginnings in your life. So we talked about that. And we talked about what the 1 energy was about, catalyzing, getting things started, moving into new vibrations, new experiences. And then I think 6 months after that, she had a brand new life. She moved, she had a new job, she was in a great relationship, but all this new energy came forward that really set her up for what she's now doing, which is a very successful business of her dreams, like manifesting a dream job of her owning this type of business and running it and it being successful. And now she's thriving in that. And so everything leading up to that, you don't know really what's going to happen, but everything leading up to that, the universe is saying, yes, go for it. Start, start, start. New, new, new. One, one, one. And that was the energy of vibration that got her moving in the direction of her dreams. When we know those numbers, we can really intuit what is the message for me in my life and where is it guiding me and where is it leading me? Because if you feel like you keep seeing the same numbers all the time, I do believe that everything is a message from the universe. Whether we love something or don't like something, whatever moves us energetically in an emotional vibration, whatever moves us, there is an attraction or a, ooh, don't want that. But either way, it's a vibrational match of what you're feeling. So when we look at that, we can really gain a lot of clarity and understanding as to why it's synchronistic to your life. And sometimes we don't get the answer right away. It's hindsight's 2020. She didn't realize all of these events were and all this 111 energy was gearing her up for this until she made those decisions to do that. But the gearing up process, it was getting her used to that vibration and questioning what's going on with my life right now. And when we question, we're exercising the God within and allowing ourselves to be in touch with that divine plan.
And in the beginning, it does seem like luck until you possibly put some approaches together and sometimes get a consistent outcome. And what I mean by that is, for myself, before I would ask for things and then give gratitude and see and feel it as if it was there, if I went to the gym or the store, I'd get lucky and park up in a front space a couple of times out of 10. The other 7 or 8 I'd walk. And as I started to, first, I pulled into that front space. And Chi, my master guide, let me know, Jamie, and train how it feels to be in this front space and create that white button. And the ability to vibe with that and allow the things to happen, started to realize that I was not manipulating, but I was co-creating with other people. As I started to put this into the testing ground so that I got some validation, if I was going, before I would ask for things, if I was going to the gym or the store, I'd get lucky and park up in a front space a couple of times. Like I said, 7 or 8 I'd walk. That was like the freaking lottery. And then I started to ask for things and then give gratitude and see and feel it, because I already felt how it feels to be in that front parking space. I went from 1 or 2 times to 7 or 8 times near the front. Not only that, I began to see the co-creation with others, not the manipulation. Meaning, I was going down this one aisle, there's no open spots, whatever. The first one to come around this next aisle, and luckily, coincidentally, there is none, this person right up in the front space pulls out and I pulled in. Whoever that person was could have been shopping for 10 hours, bought thousands of dollars worth of whatever product and service, talked to whoever for however long, and yet through the precision of co-creation, that person pulled out and I pulled in. I very quickly started to realize if I began to allow things to happen more than trying to make them happen, I was working with an unlimited universe that I allowed many different ways to manifest that end result rather than forcing the life force of trying to make it happen. And when I was doing that, I now got the validation that I was not manipulating, but I was co-creating with other people. And sometimes the ability to accept the end result and then allow it to happen is also what will tend to give some people, as they have the parking angels or whoever it might be. And they'll say, I just ask and it just seems to keep happening. I'm like, right, but you see what you're doing. You're accepting the end result of the parking space. And in this case, you're putting it through an angel, but yet you allow it to happen. And what do you usually get more of? The parking space. And they're like, okay, so the good thing is whatever works for you, angels, guides, whoever it is that works for you. If you're getting an end result and it's productive of what you like, keep the same approach. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But my point is, I learned in many years of trying to not make things happen, but I began to feel the success point of what I felt was positive or successful, so that I had that gauge, that template to go, okay, now I know how my success feels at the moment, so that I can compare to each person, circumstance, and experience that comes into my life to go, all right, you know what? You're vibing a lot with what my vibe is. All right, let's have some fun. Or not a chance, because that doesn't even feel close to what my vibe is. So I learned to feel my way through life and allow it to happen, not trying to make it happen.
And definitely, when you allow things to happen, the synchronicity unfolds. There is this thing called divine plan that I tune myself into. And I don't understand it. I think it's a moving mirage of parts and free will and choices and soul plans and all kinds of things. It's constantly morphing to how we feel, where we're putting our attention and our thoughts and our energy. And then also, how does the universe match that? Like attracts like energetically. We do know this. This is quantum physics. And so we have this understanding scientifically, we have this understanding spiritually what's happening, and then all we get to do is be the observer of these co-creations, of these synchronicities. I remember reading The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield years ago, years ago. It was in my early 20s, maybe, right when the book came out. And it was a book about coincidences. Like, there are no coincidences. And that was really the message that I took from the book at that time. And so when I thought about that, I started reviewing my life going, whoa, look at all the things that got me to meet this person. Or look at all these experiences that allow me to connect over here to get this job, to meet these people. And I looked at everything that happened prior to that time of meeting my spiritual teacher and how I was introduced to him, and in what way, shape, or form the universe got me from this place over here to this place over here. So it was an organic, natural connection that just was like, here it is. If this feels right, here it's right in front of you. And all of the people and the roles that they play consciously and unconsciously, of like either liking your energy or wanting to be around you or introducing you to someone or saying, check this out over here, or there's an opportunity over here. Do you want it? And all I had to say was yes, because it felt right. So we do have to really listen to our gut and really listen to our heart to help with those synchronistic events. I have absolute trust that this divine plan is in co-creating in a place of this divine matrix all the time. And I always ask my spiritual team, hey, thank you. I actually don't even ask, I just give gratitude. Thank you for aligning the best people, the best situations, the best circumstances in my life to co-create love, happiness, and help me achieve why I'm here. And I base everything off of myself and not other people. And I think that's the most important thing. I'm not basing it off of um, what Jamie's going to need or what someone else might need. It's like, no, what is needed for me to fulfill my purpose? And how do I become the best version of myself? And when I go through that lens, so to speak, I'm co-creating from my heart and from what's important to me, which is being here right now on this planet and having a vision, having a purpose before I came here. And how do I co create with that energy? And how can I make this a beautiful thing? And over time, we take on more ideas of what it is we want to manifest, right? And how we identify ourselves. And then the universe is constantly co-creating from that place as well. So really, we want to look inside of ourselves and not put it as something outside, but something that we are co-creating by who we are in this very moment.
Not only that, I wanted to make sure that I was not manipulating other people to get what I'm looking for. And those who know me know I talk about my white rose validation. And my experience with the white rose was I was younger and I was in poverty. I had nothing, but literally was down to a can of string beans. And that morning I said to the universe, all right, universe, if you act and feel and know that it's there before it's there, that you'll fill in the steps, that it's not just luck or coincidence and that I'm not manipulating other people to get what I'm looking for, let's put this to the test. Because by the end of this evening, one way or another, my life is changing. And those who know me know what I was meaning by that. And so I wanted to put this stuff to the test because I needed to live my truth the best that I can. Otherwise, how can I speak about it? And in this case, it was that morning that I was looking at that can of string beans, and I was sitting at the couch with the coffee table in front, and I said, all right, universe, I would like to see one white rose on the edge of this coffee table by tonight. I don't care how it comes to me. I am not saying a word to anybody else. I want to see if this co-creation is real for myself. And so I rode my bike. I always say, I look good, but I didn't date. And I was working at a bar. And that evening, I was working at the front area of the bar. And a good friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a couple of months comes walking in the door. And she's walking in going, hey, Jamie, I was driving by and I saw your bike chained up to the back. And I just wanted to come in and have a drink. And, oh, I just wanted to bring this to you. Boom, it was the white rose. I was amazed. My soul shifted because I hadn't seen my friend in months. And coincidentally, again, there is no coincidence, she, the very evening, the very day that I said my life is changing, she comes back into my life experience very casually, but very powerfully. And not only that, after that, I began to give more gratitude that I'd received things. And it didn't change my life instantly. I rode my booty home at 3 o'clock in the morning. But by the time I got home, I physically had taken that rose out of my backpack and I placed it right where I saw and accepted it to be. And that kind of a connection just got real. So I was like, okay, you know what? If I can manifest a white rose, I'd like a vehicle. I want something I could drive to give me some freedom and maybe date. 3 weeks later, I got a Grand Torino. It was not new, but it was new to me. It was used, but it was freedom. And I could drive. I could connect with other people and have fun. And I said, okay, you know what? If I can create this vehicle as well as the white rose, I'd like to get another job as well. I'd like to have some fun and different experiences. 3 weeks later, I started working at some resorts. One of them was Marriott Camelback Inn. It's a nice place. And then Four Seasons, some other places. But it was great because once I had put this stuff to the test and realized that I was not making other people do what I was wanting to do to give me the end result, it was the realization that they were co-creating in their own life experience and coincidentally came into my life and saved my very life without me saying a word to anybody. And my good friend didn't even have a clue as to what she was doing. She was just being her. And I actually never said anything to her. I kept it in my own soul print of realization to go, that's powerful. And that's why I talk a lot about it is not that you have to take it to my level, but if you have some circumstances, put it to the test. If there's anything that you would like, and for me, in the beginning, I wanted to keep it simple as a validation, a white rose. Not that I'll own the whole world and it all come to me. And I wanted to be practical the best that I could. So starting with the little things, I was able to build upon the bigger things. And in putting these tools and techniques to the test and then getting an end result was huge for me. Because I always say I could meditate and mantra all I want, but what am I manifesting from these tools and techniques, or why am I doing it? I'm very practical about this stuff. And so being able to create a reality and accept it as there before it's even there gave me the opportunity to start realizing, okay, you know what? I love doing what I do. In this case, it's the psychic mediumship. And I wanted to make sure that I was not manipulating other people to come and see me to be of service. So Chi, my master guide, was letting me know to create a future memory. I'm like, okay. And I always share what I do each and every night. And always please question everything, put things to the test so you know it's real. But every night before I went to sleep, and I'm on autopilot now, but each night before I went to sleep, I created a future memory. Last night, I was mentally already at the end of that physical following day with this energy vibe through everyone else's energy field and back to mine with gratitude of being of service for those who even choose to vibe with the energy. And now here's the intent that I send. that each person, for their own choices, reasons, circumstances, and needs, will magnetize to me in every way that I may be of service to them. And by the time they leave my presence, they will feel more loved, connected, directed, and empowered. And they usually do. And that kind of a tool and technique, along with a few others, are what allows me to do this work. And it's not work, it's who I am. But for the past 22 years, I don't feel like I've had to work a day in 22 years. That stuff is real. It can happen. I just needed to know it was real for me. I could see it for everyone else, which is great, but until I have my own experience, it's not firsthand experience, it's secondhand, which is always lovely. I need it solid. And being able to build upon those solid validations for myself started giving me an opportunity to realize it's not luck or coincidence, but precision on the universe's part. And as Mag was sharing, being able to look back on the experiences, that gives you the 2020, because this divine timing is not always easy when things aren't happening at the moment. But once we attain things and then we look back on our life experience to go, oh, now I see why this did or didn't happen, instead of what the frig, why is it not happening? It gives you a little bit more insight that you can attain the end result, but also look back on your life experiences to how you got there through empowerment, through self-realization.
We recently had a question posed to us about synchronicities saying, oh my God, they happen so often, so much. And they were like, boom, 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 boom. And then they were done. Like, where did they go? And what I'd like to just impress upon everyone is that they don't leave. Those synchronicities are still there, but maybe your team is orchestrating other dynamics. And it's not you don't need the validation every single day if you have faith. And so I want you to ask yourself, is this a question of me having faith in the universe and faith in the divine plan and faith in my part in that? And what does that mean to me? What is my faith about? Because we believe things, right? I believe in divine timing. I believe in the divine plan. That is something I feel I know in my heart, in my soul, in my being, that exists. So then I can rest my faith there. But can I prove that? No, not on this side right now. Not with what the technology that we have, or not with this level of consciousness that we are vibing with right now. I can't prove that. It is a feeling deep within me. And so I want you to think about, how does that feel to be connected to the divine plan, the divine timing, all of the divine? How does it feel to trust and to have that level of faith? Because when you can really tune into where you resource with your faith, you don't actually ever need synchronicities again. You see them everywhere and in everything, whether you're walking in nature, whether you're waking up at a certain time and looking at the clock, whether your friend calls you and you're thinking about your friend calling you. These synchronicities are everywhere all the time. And just because we don't always see them doesn't mean the divine plan isn't happening. It doesn't mean that your soul isn't orchestrating the next best adventure for you in life. And it doesn't mean that the universe is not listening to you and not hearing your voice and your words and your dreams and your aspirations and your prayers. What it means is that sometimes we don't need to see every little synchronicity. If we did, would we be doing the things that we're doing in life, or would that take our time and attention over other things? We don't have all those answers as to why they appear in batches and why they disappear in some batches. But I do want every single one of us to look within and see where we resource our faith in the divine, because it's there that we don't need to see those synchronicities. Yet when we do, there's appreciation.
And I always say, being able to feel life is not the airy-fairy kind of, to me, feelings are the language of the soul. And one feeling is worth 1,000 words and then some. And to me, words are the language of the mind and nothing but mere vibrational patterns on our ear knobs that we've trained ourselves to hear those patterns and apply a meaning. So, why with any other language, what does that mean? Same thing, different vibrational patterns on the ear knobs. Now we can see that you can pray in any language, and it's not only heard, it's felt. And that ability to feel life experience will give you that gauge to go, you know what, it feels pretty good so far, I'll keep going. Or, oop, doesn't feel right, I'm going to go in this direction. It's not that you don't have any control. For me, I learned if I've got the bigger picture in that template, I've got an idea of where I'm heading. I'll know and feel what might feel good that can get me there and what may not. And again, we can get there in a couple of different ways. I made it there. I freaking made it. Or many others. But when we can do that and have fun, and people in the beginning will see that as luck and coincidence. And then you do it enough, they start to go, how are you doing that? What are you doing? How are you getting those parking spaces and the opportunities and, all that kind of stuff? And I always share anything I do, I share with people. They don't have to listen, but it works for me. So I'll just be like, hey, here's what I do. Here's a tool and technique. Put it to the test. Please question everything and then let me know how it goes. They usually come back going, Jamie, I did it. And I'm like, frickin' A, congratulations. What else do you want to do? Because you've just manifested that. And if the approach ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're like, I can have more? Like, you can have as much as you can comprehend and way beyond that, or as little as you expect. How do you want to see your life experience of co creation? And so, in putting the practicality, as I come back to the parking spaces, because I know for me, my parking spaces are the day to day validations of my flowers of aspirations. And I know that if I'm getting my day to day validations of the flowers, my big old oak tree dreams and aspirations are in the process of manifesting as well. It's just sometimes it takes longer for the bigger things to happen because of the people, circumstances, and experiences that might be involved to get to that point. Not everyone is on the same experience. Each individualized life is a reality check to go, that's the very thing that I was wanting. And I didn't make this person do it. They chose to come to me and they offered it. I'm like, right, now you see it's not manipulation, but co-creation. And this person more than likely didn't go into a trance going, I will offer you. It's like, no, more than likely they're coming to you, hey, you know what? I think you'd be a perfect fit. And if you're interested, I'd love to talk with you. And that kind of a connection, when they can realize they're not making other people do things, but they're allowing them to do things, it becomes a lot more empowering, not disempowering, because I never have to push my energy. I'm like, hey, let me just share it. You don't have to accept it, but, something to think about. And when they can realize you're not telling me it's the only way, I'm like, well, it's just one way of infinity. But how would you like to do it? And when they can put some of these tools and techniques and see somebody who's working with them to go, well, there's something different because it's not just you're flapping your gums, it's you're living your truth and you're flapping your gums. I'm like, right. How can I speak about something unless I'm going through it, unless I'm living my own truth the best that I can? And when they can see that it's confidence, not cockiness, that you can start manifesting more, you'll begin to shift your belief system to a knowing system.
And then develop like a daily practice of just being aware of the people and the circumstances that are around you, and how is that connected into who you feel you are? And when we assume responsibility that we are co creating in this life and that's our responsibility, sometimes we'll receive those messages going in our daily life like, okay, so why did that person pull out in front of me? Do I need to slow down? Was I being impatient? Was there a message there, or could there be a message there? And asking the universe for, okay, this happened to me. Why did this happen? What am I learning in this moment from this specific experience? And it could be something as simple as someone walking in front of you and walking slowly, and you want to walk fast. And you're like, okay, could we speed this up a little bit? And maybe the universe is like, you just need to relax into life. And maybe you need to speak up and say, oh, excuse me, could I get around you? So, what is the universe speaking to you in those moments? Is it about patience? Is it about speaking? Is it about learning how to not be impatient? Like, what is the universe offering to you in those moments. Because if the universe is always asking you to tune into who you are and to be the I am presence that you are, you can learn in every moment who you are. You just have to ask the questions and say, why is this synchronistic in my life? What is the responsibility that I could be tuning into about how I'm co creating life? And then you're digging into these deeper places within you where you're learning about who you are. You're learning about your relationship in the universe. And you're learning what is synchronistic. Because I believe that we don't always see every single synchronicity, and nor do we need to. That would just take up a lot of time. But the ones that are sitting with us, the ones that we do notice, or the ones that we feel like we can't change, those might be the things that we can address within and be like, what is this about me that I can learn? Because when we assume the responsibility of learning who we are in the cosmic soup of consciousness, in this big divine plan, it also tunes us into learning about everything that's around us as well. But we have to take that responsibility to look at it as our co creation as well as what is happening, quote unquote, to us. It's happening with us, it's a co creative process.
And it's not easy to kind of go with the flow. But once you start to get some examples, it became, for me, a little bit easier to go, okay, it's a red light and I didn't make it, instead of what the? Because I had an experience just for me in my own personal life where it was a while ago and I was supposed to have an online appointment and the person didn't connect in the right time frame. So I had waited for extra time and it didn't happen and I had to go do an errand after my appointment. Well, the timing was changed. And I'm just doing my thing, going down the street. And as I'm going down this one street, which in Phoenix, Arizona was 7th Street, and I'm going down, this person, a couple hundred feet in front of me, just walks right out. Didn't even look at who might have been coming. My thing was, had I not had that client make the adjustment, because I could have gotten very upset about it, or I could have not made a light, or whatever the case is, it gave me an opportunity to go, oh, the little things can be adding up. And maybe me having to stay the extra few minutes allowed that time frame to adjust so that I did not kill this guy. Because I'll guarantee you, had I been a little bit closer, he would have been done. He didn't even look in the street before he crossed, just bip, gone. And so that for me was a huge awakening to go, had it been differently, he may not have been here. But in my own life experience, it's allowed me to lighten up a little bit more for traffic lights and hopefully when things are going well, because it doesn't always have to be the challenges. It can be the really good things that as you look back to go, oh, now I see why in this case, that happened faster or slower, because then you get a reference of life experience and the reaction to our actions. That was huge. And when I was able to see a little bit more powerfully and effectively how that co-creation can work, again, like I said, it gave me a little bit more easement to go, all right, there's a lot of traffic, so I'm not going to make it at this moment here, or this is a light, or it's a green light, I got to go. Good, this is beautiful. Because other things can happen in a very powerful, palpable way that you may not have even understood, but experienced. That's powerful.
And I guess you discovered patience, which is faith applied. And again, it comes down to faith in this divine plan. Like when things change with the traffic or the timing of things, or you're running late or early. And if it's out of your control, you can just throw it up to the universe and say, all right, the universe's divine plan is in this big cosmic morphing stage of making sure that everything's set, and everything is in my best interests. And again, this is something that we think about is I feel like the universe has my back. I feel like everything plays out according to this love vibration that I feel from the universe. So I tune into that. I tune into the love of the universe. I tune into this divine timing, and I have faith in that. And that's where I invest my time, my energy, my attention, my gratitude into that very positive makeup. Now, if you're synchronistically co creating events in your life that you don't want to co create, ask yourself what you're tuning into to create that and see if you can shift the energy behind it. Sometimes we have to dig in deep into the subconscious, into our fears, into things that we are unaware of, or that's a lot of what our unconscious is. We are not even aware of it. But when we dig in, maybe we could bring that to the conscious surface so that going forward, we're co creating more of this vibration of love and attracting what we feel that could be a match, a vibrational match for.
And not only that, having that experience where it took a little extra time so that I didn't hit that person also allowed me to feel in the place of my good friend who had no idea what she was doing. She was just doing her. Yet she co created the experience of me saving my own life. That was huge. And for myself, once I get some validation or connection, then it's a little bit easier for me to work with it because I've gotten an outcome. Because I always say, what are these meditations and mantras manifesting? I'd like some practical aspects of this so that one, I can live it. Two, not only that, that maybe people can understand that they can experience it too. Because now it just got real. Going, well, if you did it, then maybe, yes, maybe you can. And how about you can if you'll allow that to happen? And just like Mag is saying, it's that patience is faith applied, which is huge because she's been patient enough because she's gotten a reaction from the patients, which gives her a solid knowingness to go, I'll be patient and let the universe work its magic and let it flow, not force. And again, it sounds like semantics, but I found that giving myself the end result of success, whatever it is, I would allow things to happen. And it wasn't that I was out of control. It was actually that I was in control. What felt right for me as I was moving along my life's path? What was I feeling about this life experience, about others, and about myself?
And Jamie has actually a chapter in a book coming out. The release is November 11th. It's called The Golden Wisdom of Love, Legends, and Legacies. And so Jamie and I both have individual chapters. This is releasing on November 11th, so stay tuned. And if you want to read more about this White Rose story that Jamie shares on the podcast, there's a chapter dedicated to that experience in this book.
And it's really nice that sometimes maybe you don't have to go through that experience to learn from it. For me, I'm lazy. I'm going to learn from other people if there's something to learn. Because my thing is really, do you really have to experience it? I have to put my hand in a fire to realize it may not be a good thing. Or could I watch somebody else in their life experience to go, oh, their action got that reaction? I don't quite appreciate that end result like I could. So that's something I'm not going to do. And it gave me the empowerment of self-realization to go, I needed to trust my gut feelings. What's that gut feeling and how's it playing out? I needed a reference for how I was feeling, whatever the information was, and then the outcome of all of that stuff put together. Once I was able to have the different pieces of the puzzle put together to create the bigger picture, it gave me more effective allowing life to happen, more so than trying to make it happen. Because when I was trying to make it, I was trying to make an unlimited universe play out one specific way. When if I accept the end result already attained, I've got 360 degrees for the life flow to come to me with the people, circumstances, and experiences. That's why Mag and I love this podcast, is we want to help you to help yourself. If we can give you some of our tools and techniques, life experience that we've been through, then if you like it, keep going. If not, then don't. But it's the good thing that you may not have to experience all of these other things to learn from it. What if that's picking up your ability to harmonize life, to learn more about life, even just by being aware of other people's life experience?
And also just keep in mind, like attracts like energetically. So your vibration is attracting situations, circumstances in your life of co-creation. And that's a beautiful, beautiful place and a beautiful vantage point in terms of having a perspective of this divine plan and the faith that you'll need to trust in that.
And just like Mag says, patience is faith applied. And again, she's gotten enough validation that she's more willing to be patient the best that she can in order to allow things to happen. Because for myself, as a younger person, I was realizing, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it happen, or I want this. And so I had to equate, well, then I have to work 80 hours a day to get the money to get that. When as I learned when I got older that White Rose allowed me to parlay into the vehicle, which became the vehicle of my consciousness, physically, metaphysically, and helped me create the next phase of my life. In this case, working at a resort that was so much fun. I love everybody, and it was a great experience that I was just doing me. But during that me that I was just doing for all of those years at Marriott Camelback Inn, I met so many amazing people, not only regular people like me, but ball players, actors, actresses, many other. I got to meet presidents of the United States and astronauts, and it was amazing and is. And it gave me the opportunity to realize I just have to be me. And I could carry on a conversation with these people in so many different ways that it became inclusive, not exclusive in this way. And when people can realize that they're not excluded from things just because they may not be aware of it, but what if that lack of awareness in this case might be the open receptivity that they do in action that actually saved someone's life or their own? And in the timing of experience, there was another aspect that Mag and I were sitting in a light and we were going to make a left hand turn. And we waited till the light was red and then we started turning. Well, as we're starting to turn, I'm seeing this vehicle speeding that looked like this guy was going to try to beat the light. And it was freaking crazy cool because I'm looking at this vehicle that's coming toward us, and etherically in my mind sight, I'm being shown that as this person's coming through, it was like the reality was being pulled back. No matter how much he was coming, it was being pulled back. So the difference in timing, meaning he blew through that light and looked at us like, what the? And we were okay. That life experience was huge because I had no idea what just happened, except that my thing was, I don't want to get hit by this person because they're coming through fast. And so coincidentally, which there is none, this circumstance, and it was only around this vehicle. It was like a tunnel of energy around the vehicle. It wasn't everything else that got pushed back. I have no idea how that happened, except that it happened. Even though we were obeying the laws, this other person wasn't paying attention, apparently. We were not necessarily able to physically get out of the way of this vehicle because we're sitting there. So the universe effortlessly co created in a tunnel of energy and pulled that back. So no matter how fast that car was getting, it wouldn't reach us until after we turned. And that was huge because for me to not only see that reality literally was look like it was a tunnel that's pulling back, it was freaking crazy cool, but to also get the end result that that person could have killed Maggie and I because they weren't looking or they thought they could beat the light. And we were sitting in the middle of that intersection waiting for the light to change. So now we can see just because there are signals in life doesn't always mean you have to instantly go. Sometimes waiting will be the most productive if it feels right, that can literally be life changing. Because had that car kept going even stronger without having that tunnel of energy, we would have been done. We would have been done. It would have hit my side, more than likely assisted in connecting with us and disconnecting. So, in that practical life experience, and for me to have the first-hand experience, that stuff is real. And just because I didn't understand it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Oh, it freaking happened. I'm still trying to understand it. But it's also the open receptivity to go, that is how miracles happen. Because commonsensically, in a physical way, there's no way that would have adjusted anything and the car would have kept going. Except in my own mind sight, I was being shown that it was an extension pulling back on a reality so that the time frame changed. That was life saving.
So enjoy your synchronicities. Enjoy the feeling that you get in your heart space when you're connected to faith in that divine plan. And vibe with it. Vibe with that relationship to the all that is, was, and will be, because it's all happening in this beautiful morphing, dynamic matrix field all the time. So when we can tune our hearts into that and tune our souls into that and really be responsible for our purpose in that part of the whole plan and the all that is, then we can really appreciate how synchronistic life is. And we'll see those synchronicities all the time and in everything.
And it'll be a little easier, like Max says. Patience is faith applied. You get enough of that end result, it becomes a little bit more easy to be patient about instead of what the flag dog. So again, go easy on yourself. Put these tools and techniques to the test in a good way. You don't have to take it to my level of challenges. But whatever parking spaces, any of that, so that you begin to get a feel for the reality that that stuff is real. Because once you experience it, it's firsthand, and you're more willing to work from that experience of a firsthand, solid knowingness that whatever it is real for me in this case.
And open your heart and ask for the synchronistic message of the moment, too. Don't be afraid to really look and ask questions. Open your heart to the vibrations and really feel. Tap into your psychic senses when you're doing this. You can take yourself to your spiritual room and throw up an event on your viewing screen and just feel into that and see if maybe there is a message of why it had to happen a certain way. I don't believe we need to know all of those things, but sometimes we can get those messages for ourselves.
And the great thing is the more that we teach ourselves, the more that we can share with others, because that firsthand experience becomes very solid and powerful. That again, in these co-creations with others, that I'm able to say things enough before they happen, and then they happen. And then you do it enough, it moves from good guesswork to I don't understand it, but there might be something to this pattern of information.
So, isn't that what a psychic read is? Like the psychic synchronicities is
Yes.
reading the divine plan and the creative matrix as it's morphing and co creating all the time.
And the co-creation with others. All of these different realities are happening now. It's what do you focus on and continue to feed, because it will grow. Because for myself, when people come to me for a psychic reading, they might have a few different life directions that they're thinking about going in. And I'll be able to tap into their soul primitive consciousness, that eternal beingness, and go, okay, if you choose this direction, here's most likely what you're going to get. If you choose this one, here's most likely what you're going to get. All of these realities are already playing out, or I wouldn't have the information of the outcome. My point is, everything is able to play out. In what way would you like it to manifest in your life? Through the empowerment of self-realization, or the negation to go, that's lucky and coincidence? Because again, the more that you can do this for yourself and have it real, the more powerfully you'll be able to live your truth. And that's when people are willing to listen, to go, whatever you're saying, if it's going to share and get me more of like what you're doing, I'm listening, because you're living your truth. But if you're not, you're just kind of flapping your gums. Be true to yourself. Find your life experience within, and that life within you, to bring it to the cosmic oneness, and it will breathe life into not only your own experiences, but to others, and the co-creation with life experience. For it is all one.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are so grateful that you have taken the time to spend with us on our podcast today. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
And remember, these abilities are so natural, they're supernatural.
And if you want to have more fun with your psychic evolution, we do have a mystery school. Check it out. There'll be a link in your show notes, and you can join us and indulge in all our classes and become a part of the Psychic Evolution Inner Eye family. And if you feel like this podcast can help someone, please share it with a friend if you feel like it could help them grow and expand in their psychic evolution.
Until next time, have fun with your psychic evolution.